Hey, you're listening to the Quality Cup Life podcast. My name is Imani, and here we believe that in order for young adults who are looking for a better quality life and to live with purpose, you have to pour into your own cup first. Just because you may have missed out on certain things growing up or you didn't have the best start, that does not mean your entire life has to go that way. And in living a quality cup life, we talk about it through a 9-step framework broken up into 3 pillars: mind, body, and money. So thank you for joining us, and let's get into the show. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Quality Cup Life podcast. My name is Imani, and it's been a little minute. it's been a hot little second. And so yeah, but we're back. Hello. And shout out to y'all who remembered. I think it wasn't the last podcast episode I made. It was the episode before that, I think, where I was like, I'm back. If I'm not back, I owe y'all some money. So shout out to y'all. And speaking of that, I do owe y'all some money. I am doing a giveaway it's going to be a $60 Visa card, and some of y'all might be like, $60? What is that? That's nothing. Okay, cool. $60 is nothing until you need it. Is it not? Is it not? So, in order to enter to win, you need to leave a comment, be a subscriber, leave a review, and then follow me on Insta. All of that it'll take you all of 90 seconds. So 90 seconds for $60 sounds like a phenomenal deal to me. Okay, all right. So with all of that being said, also, once you do that, I'm not a professional. This is my first time doing a giveaway. So I'll be able to tell if you follow me on Instagram. But I can't always tell for YouTube if you're subscribers or if you subscribe privately. So if it would be much better to just make it smooth across the board. Just send me some screenshots. All right, cool. So I am here today. I have been meaning to get back with you guys and make an episode. I've had this episode kind of laid out, structured for a couple weeks. Or probably around a month, but it has been a crazy first. We are in the 3rd month of the year of 2023. Don't know how that happened at all, but yeah. So here's what I have, and I wanted to talk to you guys today. But first, I wanted to ask a question, and the question is: what was the best thing that you learned in 2022, but the process sucked? It absolutely sucked while you're in it, but looking back on it, you like, dang, I really need to learn that. And being a young adult, being in your 20s, early 30s, you make a bunch of mistakes. You learn a lot of things. You figure out which direction your life is leaning, what your skills are, what your gifts are, what kind of person are you becoming, that type of thing. And if you're intentional about your life, you'll be able to notice that kind of thing. But anyway, so that is my question for you. What is the best thing you learned in 2022? But the process absolutely sucked. And you will hear my answer in these 3 things. So I have the categories broken up into financial literacy, physical well-being, and the understanding relationships. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the money part. All right, cool. So the first thing, before I start with the things, I want you, as you're listening or watching this, please don't please think about yourself in these situations. And it's because I'm not here to talk about me. I am talking about me in a sense, but I'm doing it so that way I hope you can think about this from your own life and your own perspective. Just wanted to say that. All right, cool. The first thing is that I learned about financial literacy and money and stuff like that is it is less about your skills and abilities. It's actually more about what you offer to people and how you offer it. And I'll give you an example, okay? So, being in your 20s, especially early 20s, this is the time where you like really start to learn how to put your resume together and talk to people, and especially if you want a decent job, I guess. Or if you want like an office job or something like that, something that requires skills or whatever, you're gonna need your resume. And depending on the job that you are applying for, recruiters, they don't care about just your skills alone, because there's a ton of people with your same skills, especially if you're like hot out of college or you've been out of college just a few years. There's a gazillion of you every year coming out with the same skills, right? So what they care mostly about is how can those skills benefit them and the company that they are working with. And I learned this. This is not a natural thing that you think of, or at least I didn't. So I learned this from a YouTube channel. I think it's called Life After Layoff. And man, my man set me up for greatness. I ain't lying. That's it's great. I'm gonna leave the title down here, and then so if y'all are interested in that type of thing, go check it out. And the same goes for entrepreneurs and freelancers. It's the same goes for that. The same thing applies. People don't care about your skills. They care about what can it do for them. So, yeah. And then the next thing is that I learned in 2022, or was reinforced, was the higher you go financially, that leads to the more challenges you will face, and then that leads to the more people you will serve, and then that leads to the more responsibilities that will be given to you. And so I'm saying all that to say, y'all be careful what y'all ask for, because last year, probably about the first half of last year, I was starting looking for new jobs and stuff like that, and I was like, Lord, like, I really want to get another job. I need to be challenged, because I wasn't being challenged where I was anymore, and what I was doing outside of this, I wasn't being challenged anymore. And so I asked, and I was so frustrated, and I applied to I had to be 100 jobs. I'm not even kidding you. And then now that I did get a new position, it's all the things. It is so challenging, but the wonderful thing is that I'm learning a lot more skills. And so it's like, you see, okay, challenge, okay, but you're learning all these skills, and some of these skills can help me apply that to this. So the podcast and other things. So yeah. And then the next thing is ask for what you want. And I know that sounds very simple, but seriously, you need to ask for what you want. And that goes for everything. That goes for money. That goes for relationships. That goes for darn near everything. If you have certain needs or wants, you need to ask. And my aunt, shout out to my aunt. She says the worst you can say is no to me, and it's not like I've never heard it before. So you better ask. So, and that's straight up. The next thing is there's a difference between being valued and being appreciated. And that thing just blew me all the way back last year. Because I thought they were the same, and they are not. You have to communicate your value, and whoever is willing to pay to play will do so, and whoever doesn't, they won't. So, and that's kind of a hard skill to learn, especially for me, because I'm such a people person, I guess. Meaning people person as in I want to help everybody. I be my personality type is if you know anything about Eric Thomas, he has the flight assessment. It's the DISC assessment essentially, and the highest personality type or whatever is S, and the main thing in the S is stability, and I like to help other people stabilize whatever they're doing, and so, which is cool, but and I'm good at it, but I end up putting myself in situations where it's not appropriate, and and it isn't mutual, I end up burning myself out and I'm over here dying. Meanwhile, you have no idea because I don't say anything and I just be trying to do all the things, and it's not healthy. So yeah. So people need to value you, not just be like, oh, I appreciate it. Oh, appreciate you, dog. I appreciate you. That's not the same as people act differently when they value something versus appreciate something. When they value something, they treat it with the utmost respect. They take the most advantage of the opportunity that they've been given. If they value something, they take whatever it is and they expand it even further, versus just they be like, oh, I appreciate it, but they do nothing with it. If you're following me, I hope you are. The next thing is, the more money you spend on something, the more value you get out of it, and typically the quality of that thing is much higher. And that goes with the point I said right before. So for example, I'm bougie, and and then I have like digestive issues and things like that, and I'm very sensitive to certain things. So I shop for like groceries and stuff. I tend to shop at I like health food stores, or not. It might not just be health food stores, but I would prefer like a Publix or a health food store, or Whole Foods or whatever, or Earth Fare or whatever, than a Walmart. I mean, it's Walmart, you know. So that's enough said. Oh, and also this references episode 8 of the podcast, so go check that out. I had a whole episode on, it's very short though, but I did a whole episode about why the benefits of spending more money versus spending less, because everybody talks about saving money, but there's some things that are not worth it depending on what you're into. You know what I'm saying? So that is it for the financial literacy money part of things that really tripped me up last year. But I was like, oh, I tripped, but I really needed to know this. I really needed to learn this if I'm going to be successful in 2023. And when I say be successful, I mean like have a year that's very where I'm not struggling the entire I'm not on the struggle bus the entire year, and I'm like because it's gonna be the big 3-0 in a couple years, and I want to not be the same person I am now, and I hope you're in the same trajectory if you're watching or listening to this. Okay, so the next category is physical well-being, and the main thing, oh my God, for last year and then the first few parts of this year, is stress is a killer. Stress is a whole killer. It's an energy killer. It's a motivation killer. It's a confidence killer. It's a communications killer. It's an organization killer. It's a progress killer. All the killers. It kills everything. And and that's the killer of stress is a kind of a part of the contribution as to what was kind of taking me a while to put a new episode. So it was I had a lot of things going on. It was very stressful. And so some stress is good, it's normal, it's great for you because it causes you to grow and become stronger and be better. Kind of like when you go to the gym and you work out, that's stress on your muscles. And it technically breaks down your muscles, but it breaks it down to build it back up and to build it back up stronger. So, or kind of like, I think I've heard, I don't know how true this is, so don't listen to me, but I think I've heard something about when you break a bone and then when it heals back together, it heals stronger or something like that. And to go with that, to get back on track, like I said, stress is normal, but you don't need to let that stress like overtake you, so to speak. So what's better to do is either get the help that you need. If you need help, figure out where can I go, who can I talk to, what can I read, whatever, to relieve that stress. What habits can I change to relieve that stress? And then just focus on one thing at a time, that, or at least relieve a little bit of stress. And I talked about this kind of in the episode. It's episode 28. It's called Flight Was a Mess. I was talking about the Flight movie with Denzel Washington. That movie was a whole mess. And if he would have, and that movie was very stressful for me to watch, and it was very stressful for the main character. And if he would have done one thing to relieve some of that stress, made at least one better decision, he would have been better off. But instead, he kept spiraling. And so yeah, go check that episode out if you haven't already, or you can re-listen to it, because yeah, re-listen. And then the next thing and the final thing is I'm out of shape. Your girl needs to start exercising again. Because I got back. I hopped on my skateboard a couple days ago. I used to skateboard in college to class, and just around campus whenever I needed to get somewhere on campus. Campus was pretty small. But I hopped on that sucker like 2 weeks ago. Oh my goodness. Like, and it was down this road. I still skate a little bit, but it's not that far. It was a little bit of a distance. Boy, I was tired. And then I had a backpack on my back, so it required more stability in my feet. Oh my God, I was like, bro, this is girl, you got to get back to work. It's rough. I do exercise a little bit, but not as much as I probably should. And you can't tell because I'm a very petite individual, but I think the majority is just my eating habits and the foods I choose to eat. I eat a lot of vegetables, and I like smoothies and proteins and things. I'm not a huge on like carbs, unless it's chocolate. But that's another whole nother irrelevant thing. But and then the last category is understanding relationships. And the older that I'm getting in my entire 26 years of life, I'm learning you have to, if you're gonna survive in this world, we need people to survive in this world. And you have to learn how to communicate with people, communicate your expectations, what your needs are, what your wants are. Like, I'm like, why was this not a thing in school? Like, what was I learning in high school? Because apparently it was irrelevant. Like, that's how I'm feeling right now. Because none of this stuff did I learn in college or high school, unless it was outside of the classroom. Like, I learned some of this. I'm like, bro, what's the point of these classes? Because it's not beneficial for me in this point in my life. Like, what is this? But anywho, so the first point that I wanted to make was I need to be better at communicating, like I said, and I need to be better about being clear in my intentions, what I will deliver, and what I will expect from them as well. So when you're in relationship with people, whether that's coworkers or romantic relationship or friendship or family or whatever, or even like your work, not just coworker, but like if you have a client and you're the person that's delivering something to the client, I learned this the hard way, and I'm still struggling with it, low key. You have to state what are the deliverables? What are you going to get in return, and what is it that I need from you? That needs to be set up from the beginning, because if it's not, you can't be mad that, especially, you might assume that they know, but you have to really spell it out for people in arenas where, especially when it comes to getting your money, you have to spell it out for people. So there's no room for gray area, even though people will still mess up, because it's just people, and that's what we do. kind of mess up sometimes, we make mistakes, but you really need to spell it out for people so there's no room for a gray area or misinterpretation, because you'll be mad like I was about something that you thought was common sense, or like, oh, bro, we talked about this, but like they don't follow through, and they'll find an excuse for why they didn't deliver on what the expectation was, and that's not cool. So, and it wastes a lot of time and energy and things like that. And if you don't spell it out for them, they will either forget what you told them, or what it was, or they may see if you will relax on it, so that way they can do what's comfortable for them. And I don't know that people do this all the way on purpose, but people will do what's in the best interest of themselves most of the time. And it doesn't matter if it's a large inconvenience to you. They would rather themselves be convenienced. So you got to be real clear with people, all the way clear. So the next thing is give yourself breathing room and realistic expectations. And I'm talking to myself. I'm preaching to the choir. I ain't lying. Stop trying to rush everything. And so for me, I don't know if anybody else does this, but for me, I'll stack a lot of things on my plate and be like, ooh, I can get this done, that done, and that done. And theoretically, yes, I can, if I really push myself theoretically, but what's the Murphy's Law? If something can go wrong, it will. That's not a good a mantra to live by, but you want to leave some like breathing room for stuff. Give yourself, if you have a list of things to do for the day, give yourself like a 10-minute cushion or 15-minute cushion in between each task, so that way if something happens, you're not thrown all the way off. You build in cushion, so to speak. That's like what an emergency fund is for, what a savings account is for. It's for the cushion, because you don't want to just rely on just your check or whatever it is, however you get your money. You don't want to just rely on your check that you get every week, every 2 weeks, month, or whatever. You want to build in cushion. And so yeah. The next thing is stop trying to carry the world on your back. You have your own cross to carry. Help others after you've handled your own. And so this is very ironic because the name of this brand is called Quality Cup Life, and the point of this is to pour into your own cup first, because you cannot give what you do not have. And I've said that a gazillion times, and this brand is for me. I am it, because I struggle with that, because I just be wanting to see everybody win. But in my wanting to see everybody win and willing to put my money and my actions where my mouth is and saying I want everybody to win, I end up taking out of my own resources that I need to try to help other people. And that's not fair. That's not fair to me or to them, because it's as if they're robbing me and they don't even know it, because, even though I allowed them to, you feel like, if that makes sense. So please do not be like me. We can be better together. We are friends. Friends we are. So the next thing is, don't assume everyone thinks like you or cares as much about a certain thing as you do, because they don't. And so everybody has different priorities in life. Everybody just thinks thinks differently. And everyone has different habits and different ways of going about things. And so you can't assume that just because something makes perfect sense to you means that other person is going to understand that without you communicating that. And even when you think you've communicated that well, a lot of times there's still a disconnect. And sometimes when you say something, just because you said it in a way that you thought it was clear, sometimes people take what you say and they hear something different. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves. I'm not even joking. Is when people take what I say and they make it mean something different. And I'm like, I'm pretty easygoing in general of a person, but I'm like, hold up, wait a minute. So what we're not gonna do is do that, because what did I say though? What came out of my mouth? Not what did you think it meant. What exactly did I say word for word? And shout out to Stefan. He is such a sweet man. But oh my goodness, I get so irritated sometimes, because I'm like, I'll say something, he'll ask me a question, or if this is a really silly example, but I'll be like, man, that's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. That's stupid. And then he'll turn right around and say, well, why? Well, how does that make me stupid? And I'm like, and it's a silly thing, but I get like irritated sometimes. I'll be like, did you hear me say that you were stupid? I said the thing that you said was stupid. It didn't make any sense. Like, this is just a silly example. Like, it could be I don't know. It could be something random. I don't know. But I'm like, I didn't say that you were stupid. I said what you said was stupid. It didn't make any sense. Like, I'm like, huh? But, and so that's just an example of you saying one thing and people interpreting it a whole different way. And that irritates the crap, like I said, that irritates the crap out of me. And, yeah, so and that requires a lot of patience and grace and compassion that you have to give other people, so that way you can have healthy relationships and stuff with them. And the way I look at the way that it helps me to at least try to adjust and be better. Not perfect at all, but is to remember that I don't always understand things correctly, and I need help, and I need grace and compassion myself. And it's kind of like, well, how dare you be mad at somebody, or not be mad, but like be irritated with something. It's just like, if God gives me grace and compassion, when I make mistakes, or when I misinterpret something, or when I do whatever, if he can forgive me and give grace, how dare I not want to give that to other people? So, and I'd be like, okay, I got checked, but it's cool. All right. And the next thing is oh man, this thing really hit me in my spirit. Even though I still don't get it right at all. I'm always messing this up. Is your lack of discipline and organization is killing your progress. And for some months now, I kept like I don't want to say feel, but like I kept getting this I don't want to say awareness, or I don't know, it just felt like in my spirit, God kept saying like it's killing you, bro. Like it's killing your progress. You being you're not being disciplined, and just not being organized. And so, and I'm saying this to say, sometimes when stuff isn't going exactly how you thought it would, or things get tough or whatever, it's like that brings on the stress that I was talking about earlier. And with that stress, you have like a tendency to kind of like chill or relax on certain things. You don't get up when you're supposed to. You don't get out of bed when you're supposed to. You don't eat what you're supposed to. You don't drink water like you're supposed to. For me, I'm like, okay, I don't have the motivation. Let me drink some coffee. And this is like, not necessarily, because it's like the coffee is going to amp up the stress of the anxiousness sometimes, especially if you don't have enough water, food, sleep. It's like, it's not a good combination. And so, and it was just killing me, and it's not like I was complaining or anything, but it was kind of like he had to remind me, like, me from like 5-6 years ago, I would have been blown away by all the opportunities and the skills and the things that I've developed and who I've become. Oh man, I would have been like, what? That's crazy. Like, we did what? We went where? We went where? Who? I'd have been like, oh snap. But it's a killer. I'm not gonna lie. So So yeah, like, and just because you put some things in place, to some habits or whatever, be like, you know what, I'm going to drink this amount of water, I'm going to do this. If it doesn't go perfectly, like, or if you mess up or you miss a day or whatever, it's okay just to get back up. Just get back up and try again. Every second is a new opportunity, is a new chance. Every day that you wake up and you have breath in your lungs, is a new day, is a new opportunity. It's okay. It's okay. And then the last point of the understanding relationships part is to treat your own boundaries with respect. And that's a huge thing with your own relationship with yourself, huge, but it's also huge with other people. And to go with that, if you don't respect your own boundaries, I will put this entire $60 that other people will not respect them either. And you don't want me to smack this $60 on there. I guarantee I'll put the whole 60 on there that people will not respect it either. And it's if you feel, you're gonna feel highly and wholly disrespected if you set this standard in your mind for yourself and other people don't respect you. Feel highly disrespected, especially when you've in situations where you've gone out of your way to do something for people and they act disrespectful anyway. Like, it's like you feel so disrespected. But that's where the boundaries, that's why it's so important to have boundaries for yourself. And I hope you guys have been following me, and I hope this is helpful in some sort of way other than myself. And then something that just goes with everything in this life, at least I found in my my long 26 years of life, is you gotta let discipline lead and not your feelings, because leading with your feelings will screw you all the way over. This is no lie. When you don't feel like doing something, when you're you don't feel like it, you're not in the mood, you're not it's not like things are not already not going well, and you're like, but what's the point of even doing anything about it? That's a feeling, like the discipline has to tell you to do it anyway. Because I think there's a book that I have, No Excuses by Brian Tracy. The definition in that book for discipline is doing the thing you know you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, even when you don't feel like it, or something like that. And that is so true. So absolutely true. And so this might go over some of y'all's head, and some of y'all might be like, okay, Imani. But I promise you, just even if you incorporate the last thing I said about just letting discipline lead, oh man, it'll completely change your 20s. And then from your 20s on forward, it'll completely change your life. And I don't know about y'all, but I want my life to completely change for the better. Especially if you have family members that you want to care for, you got kids, you just want a better life for yourself. That is so essential. And that's not exactly a blatant skill that at least in my experience, that was taught in school, or even in some areas with my parents. In some areas they'd be like, yeah, like they showed a good example of discipline, and in others, we're all human, so we have gaps or whatever. It wasn't like Imani, discipline is very important because of this, and it wasn't like I'm gonna tell you exactly whatever. It was more like I'm gonna show you, which is great, but like, it's cool to actually intentionally say those things out of your mouth and intentionally do those things as well. So yeah. And also, y'all, this is not related to this, but I am looking for new guests for the podcast. So if you are interested in being on, having a conversation with me, and you have something of value to offer for other young adults, and if it's in the area of financial literacy, if it's in the area of relationships, if it's in the area of physical or emotional well-being, let's talk about it, because there's just a lot of there's just a lot of things that like we gotta like stumble through on our own. And if you don't get it now, then it's gonna be harder for you to get it later. Especially the older you become, the older you get, the more responsibilities that come on your plate, and it's better to learn this stuff now than later. And so if you are interested in doing so, I would love to have you on as a guest. If you have a business, come on, you can come get this plug too. If you're interested, like I said, go to linktr, is linktr.ee/qualitycuplife, and the first link is called, it says join the podcast, and you just fill out that form. And if you are a good fit, then we can move forward and figure out we can get together and chit chat and whatnot. So yeah, this is what it is. And then so again, I'm gonna repeat the question for y'all. What was the best thing in 2022 you learned, but the process sucked? What did you learn? So hopefully all the things that I listed gave you a good, at least some ideas. So make sure you leave a comment, or if you're not comfortable writing this publicly on the YouTube comments, you can always email it to me, or however, DM me. What's it called? Is that DM me on Instagram with your answer, however you want to do it. I would love to talk to you. Again, remember about the giveaway. $60 is gonna be a Visa card. Make sure you to enter into that, make sure you sub on YouTube if you're not already. Comment on this podcast, follow me on Insta, and leave a review. And I'll see y'all hear me however y'all are getting this later. Bye.